Welcome to Pleasant Grove High School for a High School Rewind Game of the Week. I am Dusty Litster. Thanks for joining us on matchup. The Pleasant Grove Vikings and the Lone Peak Knights. Welcome, everybody. So glad to have you along with us. Another Region 4 battle in High School Rewind, and it should be a dandy between Pleasant Grove and Lone Peak. Let's start with the Knights. Not a lot of introduction needs to be made for Lone Peak, as so many people follow the Knights, especially after last season's national championship year. But this year they are playing very, very well as well. They come in 11-game winning streak. Their last loss was in mid-December in the Tarkanian Classic in Las Vegas. But since then, they've been playing steady basketball and playing very well. They're coming off a squeaker of a win against American Fork. We saw TJ Haas hit 2 free throws with 6 seconds left to give a 52-51 victory to the Knights. And they come in the night having not played a game this week. Be interested to see if they're rested or a little bit rusty of not having played all week long. That game, they were led by Frank Jackson, the sophomore. He had 18 points. Lone Peak struggled from the field in that game, but Frank Jackson played very well and kept him ahead in that game, and expect him to play well tonight. He'll have to help Lone Peak. The story of Lone Peak is always going to be about TJ Haas, averaging 24 points a game. The last week from the field, he struggled a little bit, did not hit a three-pointer in the game, ended up with 17 points, played very well. We mentioned he had the game-winning free throws as well, but TJ affects the game in so many other ways, and we expect him to do so again tonight. And a name to always keep in mind when we talk about Lone Peak, and that is Zach Frampton. He's going to have to score, do little things. He's got to stay out of foul trouble to help Lone Peak get a win against Pleasant Grove this evening. Let's talk about the Vikings. Pleasant Grove comes in a 5-game winning streak. Their last loss was to Lone Peak, and it was a 15-point loss, 66-51 at the Knights' home court. And tonight they're going to have to come out and play very well. They are led by Matt Conway, one of the better big men in the state of Utah. Matt is averaging 23 points a game, playing very well. The next part of this discussion for Pleasant Grove, our players are going to have to play very well for the Vikings to have a chance to pull off the upset, and that's going to be Riley Court, who's averaging 15 points a game, and Forrest Pincock and Mark Sheffield. Those three guys are going to have to step up and play major roles tonight in scoring the basketball and playing good defense, as we expect Matt Conway in a zone situation to be fronted and have the lob man behind him as well to keep that from happening. This should be a fun one. Well, you know, our players, our teams, and a couple of keys to the game. When we come back, it'll be the opening tip-off. You are watching High School Rewind only on Xfinity On Demand. We're about set to get started here at Pleasant Grove High School. Spencer Curtis and Matt Conway to jump it up. And the tip is controlled by Riley Court and the Vikings. Court, Thornton, Sheffield, Conway, and De Hoyos. The starting five for Pleasant Grove. Backdoor Conway, and one! We've said that a lot this year. Matt Conway opens it up with a bump and bucket. He'll go to the line. Conway for the and one. Back rims it. A lot of emotion in the building. Not surprised to see that. Down the floor now with TJ Haas. Haas will pull for three. And rips out. De Hoyos to the board ahead with Riley Court. Haas, Jackson, Alpin, Spencer Curtis, and Frampton, the starters for Coach Quincy Lewis and the Lone Peak Knights. On the baseline with Sheffield. Up top, De Hoyos. Now Riley Court. Mentioned in the open, the first matchup was a 66-51 victory for Lone Peak. 1 game ahead in the standings with Pleasant Grove. PG's does a game remaining with American Fork later in the schedule, and a couple other games for both teams. But this seems to be a 3-team race in Region 4. American Fork dropped a heartbreaker earlier this week against Harriman, coming off that loss on Friday night to Lone Peak. So this game really could decide region. Sheffield backs down, and he's going to call for a travel. Turnover, and we'll go with Lone Peak. Here's TJ Haas. 6:40 remaining in the first quarter. Haas in the quarter, Frampton back to Haas. Off the window and good. TJ Haas ties us up at 2. Down the court again with Riley Court. We got a foul away from the ball. I believe this can go Spencer Curtis, and it will. Second team foul on Lone Peak. Thornton to the inbound. Lobs into Conway. Conway working on Curtis again off the window. Conway with a nice start to the game, and it's 4-2. Pleasant Grove. Haas for 3. TJ Haas from downtown. Ends the drought from last game into the start of this one. 5-4 the lead for Lone Peak. Haas with all 5. Here's De Hoyos. Up top with Sheffield, now Thornton. Thornton straight away with Riley Court. Court backing down, shuffled his feet. Turnover, and we'll go back with Lone Peak. Haas will walk into the front court after the turnover. Here's Frank Jackson. Has a Frampton. Frampton into the corner. Alpin for three. And that lips out. A rebound to Conway. Hands back to Court. Riley Court will set up the offense. Court going to have to play a major part offensively tonight. And we're going to have a foul away from the ball once again. This one's going to go against Alpin. That's the third foul on Lone Peak. Heaton comes on for Alpin. That was his second foul. Thornton inbound the court. Pump three. Now pulls. Riley Court from straight away. And it's 7-5. Pleasant Grove. Haas transition three, and that's short. Rebound is still loose. Picked up by Curtis. Hands back to Haas. Now Frampton. Frampton down the lane. Frampton to the cup. Can't finish. Rebound to Riley Court. Down the floor now with the Vikings. Court inside Conway. And he can't finish. Thought he was going to get a foul call. Didn't get it. Going the other way with Frampton. Now Haas again for three. And that's short. Rebound taken to Thornton. Put it on the floor now with Riley Court. Here's Sheffield. Sheffield on the angle. Drop it in to Conway. Double teamed and fouled. And Conway will go to the line. The foul will be charged on Heaton. That is the 14th foul on Lone Peak. Conway made the first. Has got one more. And he makes them both. 9-5, Pleasant Grove. Here in the early going. 4 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Haas hands back to Frampton. Frampton will pull up from the free throw line. And Zach Frampton with the mid-range J. Now has us 9-7 with 4 minutes and 25 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Here's Forrest Pincock. Off the screen of Diedrichsen. Pincock into the corner. That's a deep three. And off the mark from Diedrichsen. We're going to have it over the back on Matt Conway. First team foul charged on the Vikings and first foul against Matt Conway. Down the floor now with TJ Haas. Frampton back to Haas. Haas, oh, nice final on the baseline. Nick Curtis can't finish. Rebound pulled away by Conway. 5-on-3. And nearly stolen by Haas. Saved in by Frampton into the hands of Curtis. And now McKay Webster will lay it up and in. Webster and Curtis were tangled up on one end of the floor. And a terrific play by Haas on a 5-on-3. And it turns into points for Lone Peak and ties us up at 9. 3:40 remaining in the opening quarter. Wilson now out to Pincock. Lobbing to Conway, who wasn't there, and will inbound along the baseline. Pincock, lob into Conway, slapped away by Haas. Haas now with 2 deflections. Here's Frampton. Frampton, fall away, and nearly got it to go. Foul will go on Riley Court. That'll be the second team foul on Pleasant Grove, and it'll put Frampton at the line. Frampton made the first. And the second. 11-9, Lone Peak. Here's Riley Court. Now Diedrichsen. Frampton slaps it away. And Frampton cut off by Court. That is the second foul on Riley Court. And that could hurt Pleasant Grove. He's about to come off the floor. Mitch Brown will check in for the Vikings. 13 foul on Pleasant Grove and the second on Riley Court. Here's Frank Jackson. Jackson off the window and good. Nice take by the young sophomore. And it's now 13-9, Lone Peak. There's Forrest Pincock. Outside with Diedrichsen. Now Conway over to Mitch Brown. Wilson, pump fake, pull for three, and Jake Wilson with a three-pointer, and we're now 13-12. Haas for a deep three. TJ Haas rattles in his second of the quarter. 16-12, Lone Peak. 2.5 minutes remaining in the opening quarter. Here's Forrest Pincock working on Frank Jackson in the corner to Diedrichsen. Diedrichsen will pull inside the arc and hit the long range two. 16-14. Haas hands to Jackson. Now Frampton for three. Off the mark, rebound, Matt Conway into the hands of Forrest Pincock. Diedrichson into the corner to Mitch Brown. And work it back up top of Forrest Pincock. Inside of 2 minutes now. Down to 1 minute and 55 seconds. Sheffield's set to check in for the Vikings. Here's Mitch Brown. Terminates, he needs some help. Closely guarded, was right there. Here's Forrest Pincock. High outside with Conway. Conway short with the shot. Rebound to Frampton. Here's McKay Webster. Webster goes hard to the hole. Pass inside to Curtis. Swatted away by Pincock. Ball still loose and picked up by Wilson. Wilson fouled by Frank Jackson. That's Frampton, not Jackson. And that'll be the 15th team foul on Lone Peak. First foul on Frampton. 15th foul on the Knights. Minute 20 remaining in the opening quarter. Here's Mitch Brown into the corner to Wilson. Inside Sheffield, pumps by, can't finish. Gets his own board, goes back up and scores. Nice job by Mark Sheffield, ties us up at 16. Hawes quickly to the hole. Jackknifes it up and in. 18-16 Lone Peak. Forrest Pincock racing back up the floor. Trap comes and gets it over to Brown. Pass first guard, now over to Wilson. Inside Sheffield. Pirouettes his way and is fouled. And we'll see if it goes on Curtis for Frampton. Sheffield made the first. And the second. 49 seconds remaining in the first. We're tied at 18. Exciting first quarter between these two as Haas brings it into the front court. Haas follow away Jay. No. Rebound. Forrest Pincock, 35 seconds. Pincock into the lane. He'll pull up and leaves a short. Rebound again to Zach Frampton. 25 seconds and Coach Lewis calling for one shot. What a fun quarter we've had here to get started. With Cord on the bench with 2 fouls, I wondered where the offense was going to come from. But a nice job of Wilson coming off hitting a 3. And other players stepping up and playing well. Lob into the corner to Jackson. Jackson inside Curtis. Curtis backside to Webster. Webster to the hole. Can't finish. Curtis to the board. But that'll do it for the first quarter. And at the end of 1, it's Pleasant Grove 18, Lone Peak 18. Lone Peak will start the ball at the start of the second quarter. Up and down first quarter. Riley Court still on the bench with 2 no, actually came off the bench with 2 fouls. Now have him playing off the ball in this 2-3 zone. Webster back to Jackson for 3. That's off the mark and a rebound taken by Sheffield. Now Riley Court. Court now in the corner to Hoyos. We have the starters back on the floor for Pleasant Grove. Court to Sheffield, 4-3, and that's short. And we're going to have a foul on Conway. Going the other way, but that'll be number 2 on Matt Conway. Conway comes off of his second foul, and Mitch Brown comes back in. Here's Jackson. And Jackson finishes in the lane. And it's now 20-18 in favor of Lone Peak. Court outside to Pincock. Pincock back to Court on the angle. Oh, Court got caught. Went to shoot. Haas was there, and he traveled. So after the turnover, back with the Knights. Here's Frank Jackson. Jack's off the screen to Curtis. We're going to have an illegal screen. That was more of a touch and go, but we have a foul on Curtis, and that'll be the 17th foul on Lone Peak. We're in the bonus, the remainder of the half. Here's Riley Court. Outside to Sheffield. Sheffield back to Court. Now Pincock. Pincock drops it inside to Sheffield. Heaton right there with him. Sheffield goes up. He's fouled by Heaton. That's the second foul on Heaton. 8th team foul on Lone Peak. Sheffield missed the first free throw. And gets the second. 20-19. 6:20 remaining in the half. Full court pressure coming from Pleasant Grove, and Haas' pass off the mark, and we'll go back to PG. So after the turnover, court now to Pincock. Court in the corner to Pincock. Pincock along the baseline, drug his foot. Turnover, we'll go back with the Knights. Quick it down floor, Webster, pass inside to Spencer Curtis. And a call a foul before the shot. It'll go against Jake Wilson, and that'll be the 15th foul on Pleasant Grove. Up top now, McKay Webster back inside to Frampton off the hands of Riley Court. Inside to Curtis, and out of bounds off Curtis, and we'll go with the Vikings. Up and down first quarter. Turnover plagued second quarter. So the rhythm we had to get started is absolutely gone now. Here's Pincock out top to Sheffield. Inside to Wilson. Wilson with a series of fakes. Can't get it to go. And a rebound once again to Zach Frampton. And there's a double dribble. Good call. And we're going to go back with Pleasant Grove. Pincock to inbound. Coach Lewis and Frampton both saying the ball was tipped as he went around the back from our vantage point. It didn't look like it was touched, so turnover. Back to PG. Here's Pincock now with Wilson outside to Sheffield. Sheffield back his way in, pirouettes to the hole. And Mark Sheffield with a nice take to the hole gives Pleasant Grove a 21-20 lead. Haas pulls for three, and a foul on the floor. And I believe, I don't know if it's going to go against Wilson or whoever. It'll be the 16th foul charged on PG. Conway comes back in the game. Remember, he's got 2 fouls. Haas down the lane out to Webster. Now Frampton. Frampton down the lane, and Frampton goes right down the boulevard and lays it off the window. 22-21. Lone Peak takes the lead right back. Here's Court outside to Sheffield. Sheffield down the lane, had it poked away. Picked up by Curtis. Curtis hits the deck, and a travel. And we'll go right back to the Vikings. Pincock to inbound. Does the Court. Court pulls for three. Back rimmed it, and a rebound goes out to Sheffield. He'll hand back to Riley Court. Last time we saw PG, Riley Court lit up American Fort. That ball slapped away by Curtis, picked up by Frampton. Frampton finds Curtis, goes off the rim. It'll look like an easy pass, skipped right off the rim. Here's Court. Goes right at Haas, jump stop, and drug his foot. Series of turnovers between both teams. Our second quarter score right now is 4-3, Lone Peak. Frampton terminates and gets it back out to Haas. Haas into the corner. Frampton pulls for three. Zach Frampton from downtown. Halfway through the second quarter, 25-21, Lone Peak. Here's Riley Court. Now Sheffield. He'll hand to Diedrichson. Now cross to Pincock. Here's Conway. Conway goes to Sheffield. Picked off by Frampton. Frampton gives it to Jackson. And Jackson lays it up and in. 27-21. Lone Peak leads with 3:35 remaining in the half. Timeout, PG. After the timeout, pardon me. Here's Riley Court. Up top to Sheffield. Back to Court. Court into the corner. Diedrichson for three. Pleasant Grove needed that one. Nate Diedrichson strikes from the outside, 27-24. Here's Alpin up top with Frank Jackson. Now I have Sheffield on Haas playing box and one. Outside Frampton. Here's Jackson. Jackson will pull straight away, and it crawls off. Rebound to Riley Court. Here's Court into the corner to Diedrichson. Dieterson inside to Conway. Man, right behind him, Conway was fouled before the shot, but it'll be 1-1. So that's the 9th team foul on Lone Peak. Conway made the front end. And rattles in the second. Back to a 1-point game, 27-26, 2:39 remaining in the first half. Boxing one all the way down the floor. Sheffield staying right with Haas. Outside Alpin for three, and nearly kissed it off the window. Play it on the floor now with Court. Court to Sheffield. Sheffield goes right down the baseline. They're going to get the offensive foul on Sheffield as Curtis slid in time. 7th team foul on PG. Frampton races into the front court corner to Jackson. And it lips out again for Jackson. Curtis with the board and the bucket. 29-26. Here's Riley Court. Inside Sheffield. Swatted away by Curtis. Halpin with the loose ball ahead to Jackson. Jackson down State Street, and no, we'll go. Jackson gets the board back, and we're going to have a foul on the rebound. And I thought I saw him say 2 shots. Jackson made the first of 2. That makes the second. 31-26. Court races into the front court. Working on Alpin. Into the corner. Dietrichson again for 3. That's a long rebound. Is still alive and taken by Wilson. He could have turned and scored. Conway swatted away by Curtis. Tipped out to Court. Court will back it out. Wilson had no idea. He could have just turned and scored. On the baseline, out to Conway. Conway will pull. Mid-range J won't go, and the rebound to Alpin. Play it on the floor now with the Knights. Frampton down the lane. Frampton. Nice take by Zach Frampton. 33-26. We talk about it every time we do Lone Peak. Frampton, the X factor, does so many little things. As Court gets the and one. Riley Court will go to line looking for the 3-point play. Court made the and one free throw. Our score now 33-29, 1:05 remaining in the first half. Court walks it in, Haas walks it in the front court. Haas pirouette in the lane. Corrects his shot and gets the and one. What a take and finish by TJ Haas. And Haas lips out the and one. 35-29 with 50 seconds remaining. Here's Diedrichson back up top to Wilson. Now here's Forrest Pincock. Now down to 40 seconds. Outside to Hoyos. Here's Pincock. Now Diedrichson with 30 seconds. And now PG, who's looking to run an offense, will back it out. And look for the final shot as Frampton comes out to pressure the ball and get the closely guarded. Here's Pincock. And he backs it out with 10 seconds. Now on the clock. Here's outside of Diedrichson. 6 seconds. 5 seconds. Pincock. Inside of Sheffield. 2 seconds. And it looked like a ball will go out of bounds, and that's how the first half will end. The end of one half of play, 35-29, Lone Peak leads Pleasant Grove. Start of the second half. PG will start. Here's Riley Court. Up top, Forrest Pincock. On back to Riley Court. Court in the lane. Gives it up to Conway on the baseline. Conway back to the hole, and he'll go to line to shoot 2. We'll see who that foul goes on. Foul was charged at TJ Haas. His second. First foul of the half. Conway made the first. And rattles out the second. 35-30 is our score. Haas races in the front court. Pull again for 3. And TJ Haas with his third three pushes the lead back up to 8, 38-30. A foul away from the ball. I bet that's going to be on Spencer Curtis. And that's a second team foul on Lone Peak. Pincock inbounds the court. In the corner, force Pincock for three. And it rims off, rebound, Zach Frampton. Frampton over to Haas. Haas transition three. And that lips off, rebound again, Zach Frampton. Does all the little things. It makes a big difference in games. And it's now a 10-point lead for Lone Peak. Court, follow-away jumper, good. Pleasant Grove needed that to stay in this game. Haas races into the front court. In the corner, Alpin for three. And Alpin from downtown. 43-32. Court for three. He matches the three from Alpin and brings us back to an 8-point game, 43-35. Haas inside out, Frampton for three. And Frampton lights it up from the outside. 3 possessions, 3 3-pointers. Outside of Pincock. Pincock down the lane, wrap around to Conway, and one. Third foul on Jensen Alpin. Headed up Conway at the line. Conway at the line looking for the +1. And he gets it. Our score now 46-38. 4 straight 3-point possessions. Alpin for three. And that's off the mark. Rebound to force Pincock. Pincock racing into the front court. Cross court. That pass picked off by Frampton. Ahead to Haas. Haas to the hole. And it comes off. Rebound to Wilson. Ahead to Court. Court into the corner. Mitch Brown down the baseline. Terminates. Bad spot. Got to get it out. Does to Wilson. Now up top with Riley Court. Court down the lane. Give it up to Conway. And Conway lays it off the window. 46-40. Haas from Jimmer range. TJ Haas. Timeout, Coach Lewis. 49-40. Haas from way downtown. Timeout, Lone Peak. We'll see if the three barrage continues. 49-40. As Court goes back, follow-away jumper again from Court. Riley Court's got to get it going offensively. 49-42. Haas again from three, and that's off the mark. Rebound to Court. 5:10 remaining in the third. Court loses the ball to bounce. Thought he'd get a call on Haas. Doesn't get it, and this official's getting an earful. The lid about came off the gym on that no call. 5 minutes remaining in the third. Frank Jackson. Cross court to Frampton. Back to Jackson. Jackson into the corner. Alpin again for three. And leaves a well short rebound to Brown. Brown hands back to Riley Court. Has that one stolen by Haas. Tipped ahead but taken by Brown. And he'll hand over to Court. Court now on the angle to Mitch Brown. Up top with Wilson. Now Pincock. Pincock lobs to Conway. Frampton was there. Blocked by Curtis. Back up and one. Curtis with the block. Alpin with the foul. That's number 4 on Alpin. And the bump and bucket to Conway. They charge the foul to Spencer Curtis. That is his fourth team foul on Lone Peak. And Conway hits the free throw. And our score is now 49-45. 4 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the third. PG hanging around. Here's Haas. Lob to Jackson. And Jackson throws it down. What a play. Jackson had the alley-oop last week. And he gets one here and then still to Frampton and then get a foul. If that hadn't been called, this place would have gone berserk. Frampton thought he had a clean. It looked clean. The 15th foul on Lone Peak. What a 3-minute spurt we've had in this game. Halfway through the third. Brown, cross court. Conway for three, and that's well off the mark. And rebound to Frampton. 6-point lead for Lone Peak, 51-45. And now we're going to have tight calls everywhere as the games get a little more physical, a little more heated. First team foul on Pleasant Grove. A trend to always remember. Our fouls were 5-0. They're now 5-1. We can see that tighten up really quick. Pass to Frampton, and it goes out of bounds off of PG. Frampton the trigger. Gets it into Haas. Haas back to Frampton for 3. And it goes in and out, a rebound to Conway. Here's Court. Court down the lane. Court off the window. And it's a 4-point game, 51-47. 3.5 remaining. What an exciting third quarter. Frampton backs it out. Now in the corner to Haas. Pulls for 3. And it's off the mark. Rebound to Alpin. Stolen by Court. Court pushing it in the front court. Wilson pump fake the 3. Step back. Cross court to Pincock. A deep 3. That's off the mark. Rebound to Wilson. Wilson hands back to Court. Drop it into Conway. Conway working on Nick Curtis. Goes up and scores. Conway powering his way through. 51-49. Haas, nice pass. And Curtis, oh, beautiful find the backside. As Alpin with his first 2 of the night. Hit all long-range 3s. And a 3 from Diedrichsen. What a third quarter. 53-52. Baseline J from Curtis. Goes begging. And Court can't hang on to it. And will stay here. Frampton to inbound. 2:26 remaining in the third. Gets it into Curtis and hands back. Frampton into the corner. Alpin. Now Jackson. Jackson will pull up and score. Got the shooter's touch there. 55-52. Riley Court. Drop it into Conway. Conway powers his way to the hole. Leaves it short. Sheffield can't get the board. Hand now to Haas. Haas in the lane. Haas had Sheffield. Oh, and I got to travel. Traveling violation on Haas. It would have gone out of bounds either way. We'll go with PG. What an up and down affair here in the third quarter. 55-52. Lone Peak leads. Minute 50 remaining in the third quarter. Riley Court holding straight away. Court gets it outside to Pincock. Minute 40 now on the clock. In the corner to Diedrichsen. Now back up top to Riley Court, and they'll reset. Now to 1.5 minutes remaining in the third. Now Sheffield hands to Diedrichsen. Now Pincock gives a high post to Conway. Conway had it stopped away by Jackson. Jackson now in the front court, 1-on-2. Jackson is fouled by Sheffield, and I believe it'll put Jackson in line to shoot 2. Jackson made the first. Second foul on Sheffield, second team foul on Pleasant Grove. And he back rims the second. Rebound to Wilson, 56-52. 1 minute and 10 seconds remaining. Frampton is called for the charge. Try to draw the charge, called for the block. And that'll be the 16th foul on Lone Peak. Pincock to trigger. Gets it into Wilson. Wilson for 3. And it's off the mark. Rebound tipped by Alpin. Jackson saves it to Curtis. Ahead to Frampton. Frampton right down the lane. And can't get it to go. And the foul will be charged on Wilson. That'll be the 13th foul on Lone Peak. Frampton made the first. And back rims the second. Rebound to Sheffield. 57-52, Lone Peak leads. 55 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Wellman just gets it across to De Hoyos. Trap coming with a lot of bench players on the floor for Pleasant Grove. Into the corner. Diedrichsen. Now De Hoyos. De Hoyos. Back out. Diedrichsen for 3. And Diedrichsen second of the quarter. Nate Diedrichsen with 2 big 3s. 57-55, Lone Peak. Here's Frampton looking for one shot. Down to 25 seconds. Now 20 seconds. Frampton nears this side. Straight away with TJ Haas. Cross to Frank Jackson. Now back to Haas. Down to 5 seconds. Frampton for 3. well off the mark. Rebound to Mitch Brown. And Brown traveled. Defenders came right at him. Brown shuffled his feet before he dribbled. 1.7 on the clock. Frampton the trigger with 1.7. Gets it into Alpin. Alpin for three. And just left it short. Didn't want the third quarter to end, but it had to. At the end of three, it is Lone Peak 57, Pleasant Grove 55. After a 26-22 third quarter, Pleasant Grove had the advantage, 26-22. We enter the fourth, 57-55 with the Lone Peak lead. Here's Frank Jackson. Now Alpin. And that pass is stolen by Sheffield. Sheffield goes the other way and lays it up and in. Tied at 57. Frampton brings it right back to the front court. Hand off to TJ Hawes, who had some deep threes in that third quarter. Here's Frampton. Back to Hawes for three. Back rim, rebound Conway. Head to court. Riley Court backs it out. Hands to Pincock in the reset. Riley Court had a strong third quarter. Hasn't shot it from distance, but is showing a nice mid-range game with the fall-away shots. Pincock hands back to court. It was Matt Conway had a terrific third quarter. Diedrichson hit some big threes, who's now on the floor, replaced of Hayden De Hoyos. Pincock back to court in a long possession for Pleasant Grove. 6:35 now on the clock. Here's Conway. Out to Sheffield, an open three. Sheffield opens the fourth quarter with 5 points, and it's now Pleasant Grove 60-57. Here's Frank Jackson. Need to remind you that Lone Peak has won 36 straight games in the state of Utah. Have not lost since February 10th, 2012. Back to Frampton for three. And a rebound taken by Matt Conway. They had two nail-biter games in the state against Viewmont and then last week against American Fork. Both games TJ Haas had game winners. In the corner, Pincock. Drop it into Conway. Conway is fouled and will go to the line to shoot two. That'll be the 17th foul on Lone Peak. Conway missed the first. Got one more. And gets the second. Team fouls are 7 on Lone Peak, 3 on Pleasant Grove as Coach Quincy Lewis takes a timeout. 5:47 remaining in the fourth quarter. Pleasant Grove 61, Lone Peak 57. Frampton to inbound after the timeout. Gives it to Alpin, who has 4 fouls in the game. We mentioned that's 4. 17 fouls on Lone Peak, 3 on Pleasant Grove. Alpin on the baseline to Curtis. Curtis hands it back to TJ Haas. Sheffield with Haas. Screen from Curtis. Conway comes to show, out to Jackson. Jackson pulls for the long range two, and Frank Jackson with a big bucket. Now 61-59, Pleasant Grove. PG's got to be careful. A lot of guys taking bumps from Haas, hitting the floor. You need to call for a block. And they should be. If you're in a flop, should be a block. Here's Pincock. Drop it into Conway. Slapped away by Frampton. Frampton hits the floor. Still loose in the corner. And we're going to have timeout, Pleasant Grove. After the timeout from Coach McAllister, 4:55 remaining in the fourth quarter. Pincock inbounds to Riley Court. A deep three. And that's off the mark. Rebound to Sheffield. And Sheffield continues to have a big fourth quarter. 7 points from Mark Sheffield. Oh, nice find inside to Curtis. Swatted from behind by Sheffield. He's all over the place. Hand back to Alpin. And there's the foul on Sheffield. That's number 3. Got to stay on your feet. Frampton inbound. 14th foul on Pleasant Grove. Here's Haas. Pulls for 3. Back rim and rebound to Pincock. Pincock down the baseline. Into the corner to De Hoyos. Slapped away by Haas. Haas has been all over defensively. He's made 4 big plays deflecting passes to open men, 2 of which were in transition. One was an open 3, and another one was a 5-on-3. Underrated defensively. Here's Riley Court, and now a foul on Hawes. Pleasant Grove fans have been begging for it. They get one there, and that's a tough one to go on Hawes, and that's number 3 on TJ. Court made the first and makes the second. It's a 6-point lead for Pleasant Grove. Last 4 minutes of the fourth quarter can expect to be called very closely. This game's getting really intense. Outside to Alpin. Cross court to Jackson. Jackson, jumper at the free throw line. Back rim. Rebound to Alpin, stolen by De Hoyos. De Hoyos ahead to Court. Court gets it outside to Sheffield, and he'll set up the offense for Pleasant Grove. Now down to 3:30. Court goes right at Hawes, has it slapped away by Hawes. Picked up by De Hoyos. No, and a rebound to TJ Hawes. And they saw that coming. Sheffield's got to be smarter in that. And that's the 15th foul on Pleasant Grove and the 4th foul on Sheffield. Here's Frampton. Up top to Frank Jackson. Now Alpin. Back to Jackson for 3. That's off the mark. The rebound still loose. Saved by Jackson to Curtis. What athleticism from Frank Jackson. Haas back to Frampton. Now Alpin. Gives it to Frampton. Stolen by Forrest Pincock. Pincock pull up at the junction. Won't go. Sheffield blocked. Thought he was going to get a foul. The ball still loose. And we have a jump ball in the possession arrow belonging to Pleasant Grove. Pincock to inbound. Too sharp of a pass to Conway. And we'll go the other way with Lone Peak. So after the turnover, 2:45 remaining in the fourth quarter. Haas terminates deep by the timeline. Gets it back. Haas in the lane, floated up. No, tipped up by Curtis. Rebounded to Hoyos. And a foul on Haas. 4th personal foul on TJ Haas. It'll be 1-on-1 free throws for Hayden De Hoyos. De Hoyos made the first. That's the 4th on Haas, the 19th foul on Lone Peak. And it rattles in. Timeout, Coach McAllister. Standing ovation for PG as they lead with 2:31, 67-59. 2 minutes and 30 seconds for Lone Peak to keep their winning streak alive in the state of Utah. Pleasant Grove is that close from ending it and tying Lone Peak for region. Haas for 3. TJ Haas. 5 threes in the game. 67-62. And a tough night for Haas. And it's a steal by Haas. Haas to the rim and throws it down. What a 5 points for Haas. And it's still to Frampton. Ahead to Haas, can't hang on to it. Court gets it back ahead to Conway. Conway to the rim. And he's fouled and will go to the line to shoot 2. The foul will go on Zach Frampton. Conway made the first. And the second. Conway's played big tonight. 69-64. Pleasant Grove. 1:40 remaining. Jackson now open to Frampton. Force Pincock with him. Drop it into Curtis. Curtis hands back to Haas. Haas to Jackson in the corner. Open for 3. And Jansen open from the outside. 69-67. Here's Riley Court into the corner to De Hoyos. De Hoyos outside. Pincock for 3. Forrest Pincock with the big 3. And push it back to 5. Haas. No, rebound to Sheffield. 1 minute remaining in the fourth. Remember, PG does not have to shoot the remaining minute with high school rules. Sheffield. Cross court to Court. Court. Frank Jackson really got the steal. Here's Sheffield. And we're going to have a foul on Curtis.
Sheffield going to line to shoot 2. 41 seconds remaining. Sheffield to line. Sheffield made the first. And the second. 7-point game. 74-67. 40 seconds remaining. Here's Jackson. Got to go faster. Jackson down the lane and good. Timeout, Coach Lewis. 34.5 seconds remaining. 74-69. Pleasant Grove leads. De Hoyos to inbound. Still looking. Gets it into court. And not going to foul. 30 seconds. Here's Sheffield. Sheffield now fouled by Frampton. It'll be 2 free throws going back to Sheffield. Sheffield made the first. It's been Mark Sheffield his fourth quarter for Pleasant Grove. He rims out the second. 75-69. Haas to McKay Webster. Webster outside to Frank Jackson. And Jackson hits the 3. 18 seconds. Timeout, Coach Lewis. Jackson with an ice 3. Lone Peak still live. We'll do it again. 18.3 remaining. De Hoyos to trigger. Gets it into Forrest Pincock. And still haven't fouled. He's forcing into Curtis. Now across the timeline. And he gets away with 10 seconds. And now Pincock fouled with 10.3 remaining. Pincock missed the first free throw. 10.3 remaining. And he makes the second. Timeout, Coach McAllister. 76-72. 10 seconds remaining. Webster to inbound. Gets it into Haas. Haas racing the front court, and there's a foul by Sheffield. And Haas, a moment, a little uncool. And the official is getting it. Coach Lewis is having a hard time. Jackson to inbound with 8.5 remaining. Gets it into Curtis, back to Jackson, and a foul to Pincock. It'll be 1-and-1 free throws coming the way of Lone Peak. Jackson on the front end. Back rimmed it. Rebound to Conway. Conway fouled, and Conway will go to the line to shoot 2. What a streak for Lone Peak. Looks like it's in jeopardy tonight. Conway made the first. And the second. They're going to try to get into Jackson. Tip by Court, taken by De Hoyos. 36 games comes to an end tonight in Pleasant Grove. What a game between Pleasant Grove and Lone Peak. What a streak by the Knights and Coach Lewis. But a streak doesn't mean titles. And they still have a chance to still win a region championship and a state championship. But what a night for Coach Randy McAllister and the Pleasant Grove Vikings. They knock off their rival and a lead dog in the region. Lone Peak 78-72. Stay tuned for our post-game wrap-up. Welcome back to Pleasant Grove High School. Again, our final score, the Pleasant Grove Vikings 78, the Lone Peak Knights 72. And what a game for the Vikings. Lone Peak came in, as you know, as we mentioned in the broadcast, with a 36-game winning streak within the state of Utah. And Pleasant Grove had to get the win, had to earn it, and Lone Peak wasn't just going to give it up. And what a night for these two teams. Halfway through the third quarter, it was Lone Peak going up by 13 points. And then Pleasant Grove caught fire offensively, trading threes back and forth. TJ Haas, who had an outstanding game, hit some deep Jimmer-like threes. Nice source for the state of Utah. But Pleasant Grove able to withstand them offensively and continue to go. And in the fourth quarter is when our high school rewind player of the game, Mark Sheffield, stepped in and scored the first 5 points of the fourth quarter to give PG a 1-point lead and continue to score points throughout the fourth quarter and pace the Vikings as they're able to get the win and hit some big free throws down the stretch as well. Mark Sheffield had an outstanding night. Congratulations to him on a huge evening. To Coach Randy McAllister and the Vikings, what a win. This puts them in a tie for the region championship. We'll figure out how that's going to go throughout the rest of the year. They still have to beat American Fork in a couple other games. Lone Peak, what can you say about the Knights? No team has been as dominant in the state of Utah than the Lone Peak Knights. 36 wins. Have not lost a Utah game since 2012. And to do what they've done, they won 3 state championships. That's still in the works. They have a chance to win another region championship. For Coach Quincy Lewis and the Knights, it'll be interesting to see how things turn for them. They're able to turn the page and start a new chapter in their program, or with something that's going to lull a little bit. I don't expect it to lull. Coach Lewis is the best coach in the state of Utah, and expect him to get this team going. So many players like TJ Haas and Zach Frampton on this team, they will bounce back, and things will continue to go. But congratulations to Coach McAllister and the Vikings getting the big win. Again, our final score, the Pleasant Grove Vikings 78, the Lone Peak Knights 72. Our player of the game, Mark Sheffield. For Vince Francis, I'm Dusty Lister. Thanks for joining us and watching High School Rewind only on Xfinity On Demand.